In terms of our team, let's review a little bit, where we've been since we played Wisconsin. Had a chance to take a look at the film, and like I thought we did a lot of really good things. Defensively, we're making a ton of progress. Young guys are starting to understand what they're supposed to do better. You look at our defensive numbers. In 6 of the last 8 games, we've held teams under 46, which is good. It's certainly progress on that end of the floor. Our national defensive numbers have jumped. At one point we were whatever we were, and now we've jumped 50-some spots, which is good. I like what I'm seeing there. Individuals are continuing to get better. Obviously it hurt us that we didn't have Morgan more the other night. I thought that influenced the game a little bit. We've got to make sure that we play hard without fouling and that we have him out there. He's improved a ton, and it really impacts our offense and defense. So we got to make sure that we keep him on the floor. So we did that, and then we came back. Obviously had Monday off, practice yesterday. We were really good yesterday. Guys are starting to really embrace the little things more that make a big difference, and that's good. I think we'll, obviously we have the workout this afternoon, one more day in preparation for a game against Indiana tomorrow. Obviously Indiana's playing well. They've got a great team. They're really good on the offensive end. They're good defensively. A lot of that gets overlooked because of how good they are on the offensive end. Game 1 we gave up 19 threes, and they made some of those as well, obviously. We've got to do a better job defending the three-point line. It's difficult to win when you give up 19 threes. I'm stating the obvious. So we've got to do a better job there. But watching those clips and watching that game, there's no question that we're a lot better at both ends of the floor than we were the last time we played them. And it's going to take a great effort by our guys, great concentration, great attention to detail to defend them, and then make sure we're having quality offensive possessions at the other end of the floor. I thought in Game 1 we had some sloppy turnovers. I didn't think our screening was great. We've improved in some of those areas as well. So, I'm excited for us to go out tomorrow night, a lot like I was on Sunday, and see if what I'm seeing in practice starts to translate to games. It has the last 3 games, and we've got to try to do that again tomorrow night against a very, very good basketball team. Questions?
So, in the last game against Indiana, they're really efficient offensively, like 27 assists on 37 makes. How does maybe your improved defense match up against that now?
Well, it's just better, Scott, like I just said earlier. At that point, we had a little bit of a discombobulated rotation with Thorne, and looking at some of the clips, it was and they can do this to people. They had a stretch there where they had 3 out of 4 home games where they had people down 30-plus. And they're very explosive offensively. I don't remember the exact number, but it was more than 25-0 run at Michigan. They can put points on the board quickly, and they're explosive. And you always worry about that when you play them. Obviously, the point guard Farrell spearheads all that, and I think their other guys have continued to improve and get better as well. So, we'll have our hands full at that end. But I think a lot of it's more on what we do, doing what we do well. Whether it's positioning, whether it's transition defense, whether it's blocking out, all those little things that I alluded to earlier, that I think we're getting better at. And we're going to need to do all those little things well to defend them tomorrow night.
I know Finke got going there at the end the other night, but how much do you encourage him to keep shooting just to stretch the other team's defense, even if he's
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, if he's open, he needs to shoot the ball. I'm disappointed when he doesn't. We want him to shoot it. That's his job. That's his role that he's been given. And when he's open, he needs to shoot the ball.
Against Wisconsin, the 13-point lead. How do you approach that with the team? Especially, do they ever feel like we didn't expect to be in this position and closing out the game from there?
No, we expected to be in that position. We expected to win the basketball game. So that's what we do when we go into games. We put a game plan together, and that's the expectation. We want to put ourselves in the best position to compete and to win the basketball game. Thought we did that for the bulk of the game the other day. Obviously, we led for the majority of the game. I thought that watching it, we had some sloppy turnovers when it got to where it was nip and tuck. But from the point it got from 13-6, we missed 2 free throws on a 2-shot foul, missed a layup at the rim, missed a left-handed floater by our left-handed player right down Broadway, and missed a wide-open 12 to 15-footer from Maverick Morgan on the left side of the floor, uncontested. That contributed to their shot making at the other end when it went from 13 to 6. So were those bad possessions? No. I'll take a wide-open 12 to 15-footer from Maverick Morgan any day. I'll take a layup. I'll take Finke at the line shooting 2 free throws and bank on the fact he's probably at least going to make one of them. And I like Ken shooting a lefty floater coming downhill uncontested. Didn't make them. We got to make those. Now, once it got to 5, 6, 4, 2 possessions, we had some turnovers that I did not like. I didn't like those. I thought we got a little bit sloppy. I thought on one, Nunn drove it and got fouled. It wasn't called. He got tripped. That was one of the 4. But the other 3 I thought were unforced. And those are the ones that we got to clean up at that end of the floor. But at the end of the day, you could look on stat sheets in our league, not only this year but previously, and when you're playing on the road in our league and you give up 68% from the field in a half, probably going to get beat. It's probably going to happen. Our defense wasn't good enough in the second half. It needed to be better. What do I think the part that hurt us the most was probably foul trouble, whether it was Morgan's absence, whether it was affecting defenses we're playing, different coverages we had to employ, our tentativeness defensively. We have got to continue to be that team that was ranked 11th in the country coming into the game in fewest fouls and second in our league coming into the game. We've got to be that team. We know that. I tell the guys, and I said after the game, fouling is a mistake. It's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. And the other night, I thought that really got us, especially in the second half.
You've had scoring droughts. You like that, the one where you missed shots you liked kind of throughout the season. Is there anything that's particular that it ties those together, things you see repeated?
Nah, you just got to – the other night in that case when the league got cut in half, as I was saying there earlier, you just got to make a play or two with those. I'm fine with those possessions there during that when it got cut in half. Those 4 were good ones, good possessions. Really good possessions. We'll take those shots. We read situations well. They're good shots. We just didn't make them. And in terms of common denominator, every game's different, Every game's different. Every game's played out different. One game, might be, we had some sloppy turnovers. Another game might be we missed shots. We're sitting at, whatever we are at this point through 11 games. We've had a pretty good track record of doing really well in close games, Scott, coming into the year. I don't know what that percentage is, but very, very, very high. Okay, this year I think we've been in 11 of them, and we're, 5 and 6, 6 and 5. I'd like to be better. I'd like to get back to those percentages we were the first 3 years. I know youthfulness is probably a little bit of it, but we've got to finish a little bit better. But again, for me, it's watching what is the quality of the possession, and offensively, I thought, like I said, during that run where it got cut in half, we didn't make a couple plays. We had a few sloppy turnovers there once it got to a 2-possession game that we need to clean up, that we've taken a look at. But we've got to impact the game defensively more. 68%, now it was only on 16 field goals. 11 for 16 is what they were in the half. They shot 25 free throws. Part of that was fouling to extend the game at the end of the game. But we start the first possession of the second half, and it's interesting, people, that if you follow the game closely, that was a big possession because we fouled twice, and we did foul. So now you got 2 fouls on you heading towards bonus 40 seconds into the half. And most people would probably never point to that possession as why you potentially lose a basketball game. That's a big possession. You get 2 fouls in 40 seconds, and now you don't have any drawn on them. I looked at the staff. I just said, that's not, we got to play hard without fouling. That's what we do. We did not do that the first possession. And I thought that led to bonus. Now, all of a sudden now you maybe get one you don't like on fouls 6 and 7. Well, it should be foul 4 and 5 if you played it the right way on that first possession, and maybe it doesn't lead to free throws. So I thought our ability, we've got to play hard without fouling.
John, you talk a lot about responding to adversity, and I'm curious how the guys, as we get deeper into February here, have responded to a couple of these losses continuing to build and mount.
Yeah, 18 to 22-year-olds, they have shorter memories probably than adults like us. But they've been good. I mean, yesterday they had great energy. Were very talkative. Were very energetic in practice, had good enthusiasm, communicated well. We're not going real long physically this time of year for a lot of different reasons. Partly February, partly this particular team, partly certain guys playing a lot of minutes, et cetera, et cetera. But they've been good. I mean, they've worked hard, and the main thing for me right now is I want them to understand here's the things that we got to clean up. Let's call a spade. We got to get that fixed. But, oh, by the way, I want you to know here's what we've done defensively the last 8 or 9 games. J. Cole, here's the improvements you've made. Mav, here's the improvements you've made. DJ, here's the improvements that you're making. Okay? Here's how that's affected our team in terms of improvement. We're getting better. And that's what I want them to understand, because as long as we can control that, that's the most important thing. It's not the other way around. And so I want them locked in on continuing. I tell them to keep swinging the hammer every day. Keep swinging that thing. And our kids have done that. And I think it's a big reason why you've seen improvements from Williams and Morgan, and J. Cole's getting better on defense, and Jordan's starting to earn more minutes. And, those guys are making improvements, and I don't want them to lose sight of that. So there's a balance between figuring out, hey, these are the things we can control that we've got to clean up, and then these are the things that I want you to know we're doing a pretty good job here. Don't lose sight of that in terms of our improvement.
As all those guys got more minutes, Jalen Tate has disappeared. Expect to see him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be available and ready, obviously. We've played probably about as good with this rendition of our team here the last 3 games in terms of potential. Now, we still got some things to clean up that we could be a little bit better at here and there. But we've played pretty well in the last 3 games. And obviously a big part of that has been playing K-Lou and Malcolm at point. And, we're going to continue to, take a look at that. I think those guys have earned that right. But Jalen's got to be ready, and you never know, obviously. I mean, we've lived it this year. I mean, you never know. So everybody has to be ready.
You talk about the individual improvements. How do you see those kind of meshing together on the team level?
Well, I've kind of already addressed that defensively for sure. I mean, our statistics defensively are better in league play than they were in non-conference. And we played a good non-conference schedule, best one we've played here since I've been the coach here over the 4 years. Having said that, I do think it's probably more difficult to affect defensive numbers over the breadth of a 14-game Big Ten schedule against that quality of those opponents. And we've done that. And I think a large part of that's because we, have come a long way defensively. I thought early we just – we weren't very good with little things and details. We had guys out there, quite honestly, that weren't accustomed habitually to playing our defense with our habits that we need to be successful that have come a long way now. So those numbers indicate that. The defensive grade out indicates that. We had our highest grade out in league play on Sunday with our team. Guys saw that. They saw the clips. They know. I mean, that part's gotten better. I think our shot selection's gotten better. I think for the bulk of games, we're taking better care of the ball, but we're having, and that's what we got to control a little bit better. Like we had 11 turnovers the other day, and 3 or 4 of them were in the last 6 minutes. We've got to do a better job there. I thought we should have played with about 8 or 9. And obviously that's been an area we're second in the league where we take really good care of the ball, and we've always done that. That's been a real staple, and I think that's important. So I'm nitpicking there because some people say, well, 11's not a lot. Well, depends on when they happen and how they happen. If they're forced or they're aggressive ones. I understand I don't know how many games this year in college basketball have been played with 0 turnovers. Probably none would be my guess. But we're going to have some. But I thought in a game like the other day I thought we should have had about 8 or 9 instead of 11. And that makes a big difference in low possession games. So, again, we're just, making sure that we're working hard to control what we can control. But from taking care of the ball to shot selection to, the other day we were 9 for 16 in and around the rim. That was big improvement from when we played them in game 1. So areas like that where I can talk to them about that, I can show them on film, They can see statistical evidence. All those things together, are indicative of the fact that we've gotten better.
During one of those scoring stretches late on Sunday, didn't have a post touch, and Matt was out with foul.
Yeah.
How important is he to the
He's huge, for us right now with where we're at. He's earned that right for me to say that. He's come a long way. He's really improved. He's the guy we'd like to throw the ball to down there, obviously. Over a long stretch there, he was making almost 60% on 2-point field goals. I mean, that's outrageous. I mean, he's really done a good job of getting better and finishing down there, and he's getting better at rebounding and understanding positioning and offensively and how to get position. And he started to experience some success, which is why he's playing with a lot of confidence down there right now. There's no question we would have liked to have had him down there more on Sunday.
The last time he played Indiana, they hadn't lost it in like a month plus. Have you maybe looked and seen maybe what Wisconsin did, Penn State, Michigan State, just to kind of keep that explosive offense and check a little more?
Yeah, obviously we've seen some things, and we've got a game plan in place, but I'm not going to share that publicly. I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, we watch all those. We watch games they win, games they get. We watch them all. Our scout coaches do a great job. Our assistant coaches are great in the preparation department, and I sit down and we meet with them going into every game. And, we do that for every game and every opponent. And we've certainly watched all that we can get our hands on, especially here in league play. So, we've taken a look at that. It is easier said than done against them. You obviously how fast they are. They're great on the glass, and those things sound obvious, but a lot of that's their commitment in those two areas, their depth that they have, their speed. Sometimes you can identify something, Scott, that you want to try to take away, and that's, part of the game plan, but then you got to go out and do it and execute it. And, obviously offensively, they have numerous areas statistically where they're among the best in the country. And they're among the best in the country offensively for a reason at this point over the breadth of, getting close to 30 games now. So it's it'll be a great challenge for us. But I know our guys will be excited to play. In large part, I think they feel like we're getting better, and our guys feel like they're a different team than when we play them the first time. But as I always tell them, well done is better than well said. So we need to go out and play the right way tomorrow night.
Momo have the responsibility of making sure all the guys get to practice today?
Yeah, Coach Morris. So far, we've been good. We've had some stuff where guys came in today in between classes for some things, and everybody's made it so far. So, yeah, we're aware of the inclement weather and making sure that they have a chance to get there safely and have enough time to get where they need to get.
Coach, this is a huge rivalry for the fan base. I know you've been involved in others in your career. Is it something that, in terms of this one, is it one the team feels or just more of another Big Ten game?
Well, we try the best we can, regardless of who we play, obviously, to approach every game the same, Derek, for obvious reasons. You want to have humility for your opponent. You want to make sure that you've got great focus, you're playing with effort, you're playing with energy, you got a great attitude. But our guys are aware of that, the tradition of it over the years, and have great respect for it, and great respect for certainly this team, having played them the first time, and how well they played. The biggest thing for us is we want to control what we can control, and we want to play better, than we did in game one. We are better, but tomorrow night's a different game. That doesn't guarantee anything. You got to go out and do it. That's why I said earlier, well done's better than well said. We got to go out and we got to play the right way at both ends.
Any questions for the phone lines for Coach Groce? Tops, you got anything for us?
I'm good. Thank you so much. It's John and Jeremy. I got one for you. Number 2, obviously, he's carried a heavy burden this year. You've asked a lot out of him. I know he's had some ups and downs in his career, but how has he handled this season, and how does this kind of impact maybe him in the future?
In terms of, Jeremy, I don't follow your question there. What are you, in referencing in terms of the future?
Just how, in the past you've wanted him to give energy all the time. It seems like he's gotten that. It seems like he's answered the bell a lot this year. So just what does that mean for his growth and development, I guess?
Okay. Well, obviously a lot. He's, I think he's certainly, I've said this for a long time now, one of the better players in our league, in the country, in terms of his impact on games. He can impact the game in a multitude of ways. I think that's what makes him special. I do think he's been more consistent in some areas. I still think there's more there. I think he can continue to improve and grow. But you're right. We've relied on him a lot. He's played, it's been well documented, multiple positions. He guards multiple positions. He rebounds, passes, gets deflections, is asked to defend different types of players, whether it's an interior player or perimeter player. He makes plays with the ball in his hands. He makes plays when the ball's not in his hands. I mean, he's done a lot for us. There's no question about that. Do I think it's helped his growth and development? Yes. I think the experience from the standpoint of all the things he's been asked to do has put him at times outside his comfort zone, and I think that's the way you grow. And, I think he's responded to it for the most part well. He's done everything we've tried to ask him to do. We're going to continue to keep pushing him. Obviously he's very talented, but I think a lot of it for him and our team is just continuing to honor the process and understand that the little details matter. Little things matter. And, I do think he's embraced that more than he did when he was a freshman, but we're still working with him to take that to an even higher level. Sure.
Anything else for Coach from the lines here in the room?
Any extra looks at Max Bielfeldt prepping for the game because he's last four?
Yeah, he's played well. Obviously played well in game one also, and he started some games here recently. You look at his production per minute played, his production is pretty impressive. Whether it's point per games, his field goal percentage, his efficiency, rebounding. He's been a big part of, what they do, and has really been a great, addition for them in my mind. Watching him on film, definitely has made several positive contributions.